Hey guys, welcome to Approach the Nerd. This is our Charmed after show, I guess. And we are talking episode 7 of season 3, called Which Way Out. I want to apologize first for canceling my earlier stream. I have not been feeling well, which is why I have tea so I can get through this stream with you guys, because I know that we all love to talk about Charmed. And Charmed is just a fun adventure. So yeah, but I wanted to make sure you guys know that I did reschedule the Snyder Cut stream for tomorrow, so we will be having that. I've just been feeling crappy all day, so bear with me as I muddle through this wonderful, and it's way too hot, wonderful review on Charmed. Hi Harry, hi Mia, hi Nyleave, and Blue Savior. Welcome to the stream. This was an interesting episode, wasn't it? We got to see what happens when you go to a ever-evolving, wacky prison that can pretty much change based on your point of view, fear, and perspective of your own self. An adaptable prison with glitches, which is a good thing for the charm ones, that it had glitches or they'd still be there. So yeah, let's start off with the episode. For me, was interesting. It opened with Maggie having what looked like a wet dream about Antonio, which turns out she actually really wasn't. She wakes up in her house alone. There's nobody in the house. She wanted to go get smoothies, practical. And, no one's there. And then she walks out the door and then suddenly she's at safe space and there's no one there. She closes her eyes and opens them. And I love how the lights came on. I don't know what that was about, if that was just the prison adapting to what she needed in that moment. But, it is what it is. But yeah, so she's completely alone. Now, I love the prison theme in general because I've always loved stuff like that. I mean, I'm a big Doctor Who fan. If you follow Doctor Who, the Jadoon and the Shadow Proclamation and how they have prisons, and I just love that whole thing. I've seen so many variations of this where people are put into prisons, even on CW on The Flash with the Speed Force, where you're put into prison and you have to relive your worst nightmare over and over and over again. I am down with that. This is my first question, not nitpick, just question, I guess, which maybe might be interpreted as a nitpick. If this is a prison and we found out that the girls all say this incantation from the tablet, which were made out of symbols, which I'll get to in a minute, that basically represent sound, like phonetically, they represent like a phonogram sound. Why would the prison allow them to interact with each other? Like, if you are a prisoner, and I get that they broke into the prison, but the prison was literally changing stuff up for them. So you would think that if the prison really wanted to keep them there, and as they discovered, the reason the monsters probably weren't leaving is because they didn't realize, because they kept losing their memories, that they were in a prison. Why wouldn't the prison separate them indefinitely? Like the scene where you first see Mel. Mel shows up and she sees Macy through the window, and when she goes out the door, she's no longer there. Why didn't the prison continue to do that? That would have been very cool for me to see how they got out of that individually. There's an OG episode in Charmed where Piper is in like what seems to be an insane asylum, but it's actually I think it's all in her head. Somebody was messing with her basically, but she had to figure out a way to get out of it on her own with very little intervention from her sisters and Leo. And I think that it would have been really cool for me to see how they figured it out apart, because let's be real. This is the one group of sisters that are normally, not with each other a majority of the time. So it's just something I wonder. What was the prison really trying? Because I would be separating them 100%, because they all needed each other. They needed Maggie's memories. They always needed clues to figure out what was actually going on, to figure out how to get out. But had they never found each other, then how would all three of them on their own? That is really cool to me. That would have been a cool, but I'm just thinking, guys, though, or asking questions. All right. So throughout this episode, I got excited at the beginning, even though Macy and Mel were nitpicking at each other, and they were bitching at each other. I did love the fact that when Macy was looking for her sisters, she called Mel's name first, and Mel called Macy's name first. I'm like, we made progress, guys. They both weren't just like Maggie. Like they called each other's names first. I was like, what? Is this real life? Like, I almost wanted to shake the hand of the writers. I'm like, oh my gosh, we have cross boundaries right now. So that made me laugh. And it made me extremely happy. Now, yes, the whole cattiness between Macy and Mel, because they are drastically different people. Like Mel, basically her fear in this prison, which was holding her back, is losing her job because of what's happening and being silenced. I think is her overall fear, being told that she can't stand up for herself. She can't stand up for what she believes in. In the episode, we see that retaliation from the dean because she was ticked off that she teach her outdated book on transgenderism and how basically it's a phase and it's just stupid and outdated and homophobic. And so she went behind Mel's back, even though it was against school policy, and had somebody sit in kind of like to audit her class. And so Mel filed a complaint and she won the complaint, but she was supposed to sign an NDA. And Mel got ticked and decided to do what Mel does because Mel is an activist. Mel started doing a speech on fascism. Is this fascism? Not yet, but it's on its way. And she just makes this whole big thing about it. And it ends up on that social media site. What do they call it? Did I write it down? I don't know if I wrote down the name. The crazy one that they always watch, like the word of the news and dance videos when we first were introduced to a couple episodes ago. But whatever their viral version of YouTube is, that's what it is. And so she stood up, and then Macy was kind of like getting on her about it. And caught basically she was, I will say this, Macy was a lot more aggressive than Mel was. I wasn't a fan of Mel last week, even though she's my favorite character, but I don't think she deserved what Macy was saying. Like, it's called reality. Why don't you learn it? That's like dirty dish. That's what it was. Thanks, Gemini. That was kind of catty and bitchy from Macy's standpoint. But see, Macy is a scientist. So Macy's hypothesis, as she likes to put it, our thesis, our theories, and all this stuff is how her mind works. She runs on logic. Mel runs on passion and emotion. So Mel, being the activist, of course she was going to, fight for that. Just like I really feel like Mel made a very good point. Macy did not fight the board's decision to not, basically they decided not fund now or allow rent the space for the free legal clinic that they want to do at Safe Space. And Jordan was actually on board. He's like, I got approval to do 10 hours a month pro bono, basically for immigration law. I was getting really excited, but Macy didn't fight the board's decision to not, basically when they said that they didn't want to do it. And so Mel calls Macy out on it and says, you're the one that kind of bent over, and didn't fight. I'm not like that. They're not going to silence me. They're both right. They both go to like extremes. Macy just accepts stuff. She doesn't want to rock the boat. She plays the game. Mel is like, I'm tearing everything down. This is not what I signed up for. This is not how my world's going to work. So F you and F that and F all of this. And so they are not wrong. They're just drastically different and stubborn. And they're both right. And they come about it and they butt heads because they're so drastically different. And Maggie is kind of like a hybrid between both, only she does kind of stupid stuff on the side too. So, but yeah, I thought that was really interesting that, one of the reasons that, Maggie ended up in the prison, from the beginning is that they were all trying to do the spell. Basically, Mel figured out after she did her viral stuff, she didn't know has gone at this point, how to translate the numbers that Harry had already transcribed so they know their locations. And she figured out that maybe they're replacements for sounds. And I'm like, of course they are. I mean, letters are replacements for sound. I'm learning Korean. Hangul is basically based on the formation of how your mouth says a word. It's like, that makes perfect sense. So she was able to say the spell again. Don't ask me why Maggie decided to say the spell again while her sisters weren't around because they were taking 5. And it opens and she gets sucked in. Probably not the best choice of action to do on that. I mean, they probably all should have been holding hands and done this, but But because Maggie went in first, she was stuck there for like 46 days. Or she likes to call it 46 sleeps. And she was talking crazy. And when they found her, girl looked like Grizzly Adams. Like, I don't know what was going on with Maggie. Though, you know what I will say? As a curly girl, her hair was on point. Her hair in 46 days was on point for being curly and frizzy naturally. So, I don't know what was happening in that prison world, but it was good for curly hair. I'm just going to throw that out there. So there were these glitches, though. They get these flashes of lights and these glitches, and it would allow them to remember something. Was it 42 days? That was 46 days. I have to go and look at that note that I wrote. But we'll just say 40-ish days. So, but the glitches would allow them to get pieces of their memory back. And, Maggie kind of felt like she was doing like this yoga, like enlightenment stuff where she's like, the fog isn't real. If you focus on, she just like focus on, your destination, blah, blah, blah. It's not real. Everything basically is not as it seems is what the overall motif of that was. And so she focused on a picture of her and Antonio. Right before that, though, I did love the line where she was like, if I'm going to sleep with you, there's not going to be photographic evidence. And I'm like, that's random. You didn't say you weren't going to sleep with them. So this is you basically saying, if this happens between us, you're not going to get photos or videos of it. Thanks for putting that out there. But she focuses on the picture and she realizes that the picture is probably not real because the pictures were kind of moving. Like they were like little waves, that kind of were indicators that they weren't really there. So she kept staring at it. And as she was staring at it and just focusing, it vanished. And then she realized that the prison was glitching and it wasn't getting all their emotions and all of the, basically what they liked and their fears and everything right, which is why everything was modified. But some cute moments. This have nothing to do with the plot. Right before Macy basically started forgetting who Maggie was. She was trying to get through the command center. She kept going up the stairs and the prison kept making her right at the bottom of the stairs again. We've seen that in a lot of anime and a lot of movies, those never-ending stairs. But then she starts playing like this disco dance. It sounded like disco music to me. And she's just sitting here bopping. And I'm like, what is happening? And then she sees Macy and she's still kind of like, I like at the beginning when she was like, oh no, like that was her jam. But then she forgets who Maggie is and it's almost like they kept introducing, themselves to each other. I'm your sister. Yeah, my name is Maggie. I'm your sister. Yeah, my name is Macy, blah, blah, blah. So she basically had to get Macy to remember who she was. Then they heard Mel screaming. Now remember, they're in the command center, but the command center, the mansion and safe space, top of safe space are all connected by this prison because it kept shifting like a maze, like a crazy demonic maze. And so, they go in and they see Mel's like literally sinking into the floor like quicksand. And so they use I think it was a lamp to pull her out. But I don't know. Again, what would have made it more interesting is if there was no one to save them individually. They had to figure out how to get back to each other, to get outside where we actually saw where they really were, which was actually at the prison. All of them trying to figure out how to get there would have been very, very cool. But it is what it is. So I did like so many things about this were kind of cool because all dealt on their own personal fears. Like Maggie literally is fearing that she's going to sleep with Antonio. This feels like a real fear for her. And of course, Macy feeling like she let Swan down. She even says, how am I going to tell Swan that I let her down? And I'm like, wow. So it's really getting to her, like the responsibility of being, the executive director, CEO, whatever you want to call it, or the owner, I guess, of Safe Space is really getting to her. And so that's probably why she's kind of moody and why she lashes out at Mel. Because Mel technically did not lash out at Macy. She literally got a text and said, I'm totally fired. I'm fired. I'm fired. I'm so going to lose my job. I'm fired. Even when they're watching her, do the speech, which I thought was hilarious. She was like, I'm so losing my job. She didn't even want to look at it. She was so embarrassed. But yeah, so Macy's really, really terrified, and this is my opinion, of failure because she's a scientist. And Mel is very, very, very terrified of losing her voice. She wants to be heard. She doesn't want anyone shutting her up. She's an activist. And then I guess Maggie's just really scared of sleeping with Antonio. I mean, I'm really trying to figure out what's going on with Maggie. Maggie is like literally Antonio seems to be her worst. Hooking up with him seems to be the biggest fear she has. In her flashback, she refers to him as Nemesis. He's coming to take her out for a latte, giving him the right answer to a question. And she's like, Nemesis. And then she like leaves and walks away, and she says, well, he's like the pink elephant in the room. She said, it's the theory she was talking about in psychology. So whenever you don't want to think about the pink elephant, you start thinking about the pink elephant. So I thought so basically Antonio is her pink elephant. So it's really interesting. I mean, it was really weird. I really thought that maybe Maggie's fear would have been that she hasn't found herself, because this is the year of her. And she feels lost. Maybe she has a fear of not finding herself and not figuring herself out. But they made it look like her fear was that she didn't want him. Yeah, Blue Saber just said the same thing I said. I don't think it was her fear. I just think she doesn't want him. Yeah, her fear was interesting. It was interesting. Honestly, though, they made Maggie out to be the most stable one, even though she started off as the first one to go crazy in this entire episode. So it was interesting. I like the term "the tomb of chaos" for the prison. That's pretty cool, because that's literally what it seems like. It seems like a tomb of but it's like the monsters don't know they're there because they keep losing their memory, so they don't know they need to escape. So it makes me wonder, the ones that are getting out, is it because they're being glitched too? Like, are there glitches for these monsters? And they're like, oh, shiny little crack, I'm just going to run through it. I mean, curious. I'm just curious. I did like the scene where Mel and Macy they kind of apologize, where Macy apologizes first. And then Mel kind of just says, oh, no, you're right. I am an a-hole, basically, and blah, blah, blah. They're both right. This gave me so much hope for this sisterhood between these two characters specifically, because they don't have a problem. They've never had a fight. It's just each other. And I mean, I keep trying to look at it from all angles. I mean, Macy was literally raised apart from them. She's the oldest, but she didn't get to be raised with them. You can still hear how bitter she is when they see a picture of Marisol with all three of them, and she's like, oh, well, it's definitely fake, definitely a glitch now. Like, she's kind of like, I didn't even get to draw up with you guys. And of course, they're like, but we're still family. And then Mel was the oldest, and now she's been downgraded to the middle child. So it's kind of like a reverse in Charmed, where Piper became the oldest and Phoebe was upgraded to the middle child. It definitely has it's basically them trying to figure out their place in this new sisterhood dynamic. Even though we're in season 3, they have not dealt with anything in regards to that in seasons 1 and 2. So now it seems like season 3 may be the season that we actually start to get some kind of revelation, some kind of like understanding, some kind of truce between Mel and Macy, because these two are the sisters that I really need to bond the most in this season. I just need it to happen. Let's see. I like that they saw the Chupa Alma again. And please ignore my background. For some reason, even though it is 10 o'clock at night, there is a truck out there, a garbage truck dumping the trash, which usually happens at 5 a.m. So please bear with me. I've never seen that happen on a Sunday. Very strange. Maybe I'm in an alternate prison. But yeah, the Chupa Alma, I love that they're basically walking. They walked through it. Like, they were just getting ready to go. And of course, this Chupa Alma came through, and they're like, we literally got rid of him in our world. Why would he be here? And so Maggie's like, just go through him. And they're like, how accurate are you? Or how sure that we can really do that? And she's not 100%, but they're like, it's good enough. And they just run through it. And I thought that was cool. And then Harry walking up to them like Nick Fury. I'm like, what is happening? You see that? That's what he looked like. He looked like Nick Fury just walking up to him saying, you made it back from the other side. I'm like, I love that. I love that. But yeah. And then basically we learned that Mel is now technically viral. Her video has over 700K, or as Maggie likes to say, you're cat lady status now. You're cat lady famous. She still thought she was losing her job. Then we see Kevin, and he's like, what are you talking about? You didn't lose your job. I mean, we canceled the dean. We rioted. We got on Twitter. We canceled her, but she had to go on leave for retaliation. And I'm like, okay, I guess they couldn't fire the dean because I think she's tenure. Deans are normally tenure, so it's hard to get rid of a dean. But she had to take a leave of absence for being a biatch. So that was pretty cool. And then Macy did this cool thing where she called in, I guess, the lawyer for the board. and said, gave her a new plan saying everybody at Safe Space said that they will pay for their drinks. So I guess they were free, which explains how the girls were getting all the free coffee and drinks because they weren't having to pay for it. But Macy came up with a plan. She got everybody to agree to pay for their drinks, and that would help fund the clinic. And she, the woman's like, well, I'll go talk to the board. This is unprecedented. They've never done something this, drastic or bold. And she's like, okay. And make sure that you tell them I've already put it on all of our social media accounts that we're doing it. And if they decide to defund a free clinic, then they're going to look like a-holes. And I'm like, Macy, you pulled a Mel. I was very happy about that. Then we got to see Jordan again. Jordan banging on the door. They let him in and he's like, monster claws outside. And I'm like, yeah, here we go. Because Harry already said if Maggie was in there for, I guess, was 42 days, 40-ish days, every time those lights flashed, that means a monster was getting out. So Lord knows how many monsters are running around Seattle now. So yeah, that's going to be interesting. That is going to be interesting. But they don't know how to get in and out of prison. They still have to figure out allergy. They still have to figure out who built this prison and why. And they still have to figure out, why the monsters were allowed to set free. Because we know that somebody came through that looked like a person, did not look like a monster. And I don't think it was, his name went right out of my head. The one that was able to convince you to kill people by loving him, that creature that looks human. I don't think that's the one that was the actual person that walked out. Some people told, when we were first doing our reviews last week, there were some people in the chat that thought it was Jimmy. Now, I can't say that that's not true because we don't know what happened to Jimmy. Jimmy faded away. But Harry's having a lot of back problems and, geriatric problems, which I've been saying since he started doing it. So I think that's very weird. And 9 times out of 10, maybe he's still connected to Jimmy and he's feeling what he feels. And that could have been Jimmy in the prison. Where do Dark Lighters go when do they just fade into existence? I mean, what happens to them? Can Dark Lighters truly be gone? Because if the Dark Lighter is your dark nature, can that truly be gone? So I don't know. I kind of feel like he's still out there, guys. I feel like he's probably connected to this in some way, which would be fine because he's a very interesting character. I have no hate on that. Do I want this to be completely Harry focused? Oh, he had a lot of time in season 2. I mean, it was almost 100% about him. I don't want that for season 3, but I would like to see Jimmy come back as a reoccurring player. So, but yeah, overall, this was a pretty good episode. I like the whole idea of them, being in this prison. They have to deal with their crap. And I guess this is the moral message. Don't keep yourself in a box. Be in prison. Deal with your crap, your real truth. Here, hold you back. It's a very good message. But at the same time, I want to have more clues on what's actually happening. I need more clues on who the baddies are in this, what is really happening. I am also concerned that now that Macy is basically dealing with the board of the Shea group, which, they're all shady as hell. I think a lot more potentially bad things are going to happen because of the Shea group. The trailer looked kind of ominous in that it looked like they were trying to get Macy to look less minority. That's what I took out of that trailer. I don't know 100% if that's what was happening, but from what I saw in that trailer, they were talking about her hair and what, how she looked, and she came back and Maggie's like, are you okay? And she's like, no. The only thing I can think of that would make her that upset is if they attacked her, how her hair was, because her hair is natural, it's curly, and then that is up. But this is a progressive show, so more than likely, I think that's exactly what's happening. In the Shea group is about to bring on the racism. Yay! I'm like, so that's gonna probably make me feel a little bit pissed off next week, because I don't like it when they attack my girls based on race, ethnicity, or anything else other than making stupid choices. I'm ready to fight. So yeah, I might be taking on the Shea group next week. But it is what it is. All right, so let me start looking at some of your questions. I got through that recap in 24 minutes. Oh, I have a heating up. If I shift, that's what I'm doing, guys. I am not feeling that great, so I apologize. Okay. Oh, for sure. I know it's coming. I know I am going to be pissed. Yep, Eric. I'm telling you. I am telling you. It will be on. It will be on like soy sauce on rice, because that's what you put on rice. Oh, for sure. I know it's coming. I know I'm going to be pissed. We already said that one. Yes, can't have a CW show without race. I mean, you're not wrong. Like in Superman and Lois, they haven't technically done that yet. I mean, we do have some token, Black characters. We did have one. Actually, I really don't know if he was Native American or if he was Hispanic. I don't know what he was last week. So scratch that. We do have token Black characters. Yeah, I don't. That's all I got. Like, so they may be too small to be racist because they don't have that big of a population to be racist against. I don't know. One of the taglines of this season was the power of three versus the power of one. Oh Lord. Okay, that's messed up. I don't like how that's going. No. What is it? Fat Man Slim. Harry can only be good and light. Gemini. I feel like the next ep will definitely deal with racism. Yeah. I would say you can't have a CW show without drama. This is true. This is very true. They are masters at drama in the CW, even though sometimes it doesn't make sense and sometimes it doesn't always get carried through and doesn't always go anywhere. So absolutely true statement. I need to start putting these over here because, at 44, my eyes don't work like they used to. Or as my eye doctor likes to tell me, you're not 21 anymore. He's on my list too. All right, let's see here. Boom. Okay, seemed like Harry had that no care attitude, like if my besties were missing for 4 hours, especially if I'm responsible for their safety. If they return, I wouldn't be like, oh, you're back. I made some tea. Dude was walking like Nick Fury. I'm telling you. Like they just popped back from the blip in Endgame. He was like, all right, it's been a few years, but you're back. That's literally how he was. He was pimping. I don't know what Harry was on. Harry was on some stuff. You have to wonder how many times has the dean pulled that crap on other professors and got away with it. Oh, a zillion. So let me give you some real talk. You ready? Personal. I like to share personal stories with you. Not too long, I promise. So at my organization, I work for a nonprofit. We have this thing called diversity and inclusion, and we have to have these meetings every week, which is fine. Well, in one of them, it was me and 8 other people. There were 2 Asian Pacific Islanders. There was 1 Black gentleman, 3 white women, and then me. And the topic of this was racial profiling, how we shouldn't do it. So the young lady who was hosting this is all done in Zoom. She says, oh, we have a very diverse group. I see we have some Asian Americans. We have some African Americans. We have some Caucasian Americans. She says the Caucasian Americans. But I don't see any Hispanics. And then she's like, oh, sorry, Maria. So Maria's response to this was, nope. And then I just drank my water at the time and didn't clarify. I was done because I feel like if this is your meeting and you are teaching not to racially profile and you just racially profiled me incorrectly, you should know your own shit. So there you go. But she did spur me into making a video on multiracial and biracial identity because I was very angry at this situation. So that is a video that I'm actually going to post on this channel that is way off my normal content, but needs to be out there because it's a thing, guys. It's a thing. It is a thing. And then imagine if I had said, well, my mother is Scottish. My father is Black or identifies as Black. His father is 100% Apache Indian. His mother was Black. My daddy looks completely Black. They would look at me and be like, but you don't. Because I know this because I've had that happen a lot. So it's a thing, y'all. Okay, so back to my nerdum. Let me come up here. I was at Gemini. You know what I like about marking these? I know where I am now. I'm going to do this from now on. I'm old. Bear with me. Erica. Oh, Jimmy is not gone. Just waiting for him to pop back up. I'm telling you, that guy's playing the lottery or something. He's a good guy. He's a great guy. I wonder if the mind virus would still be in him. Like when you die, does that negate the potion? I wonder how that works. What if when he killed Jimmy, his dark half went back into Harry? I would love that. I wish we had seen that happen. Like if that was what they were doing, we saw the black smoke just go right back into his body, but more than likely not. Glad to know there's a limit, though, on the number of monsters running around. Yeah, it's basically how many can get through in the light splashes or flashes in the prison. But that's still concerning, considering how many times we saw that. Also, what monster was Jordan running from? At first, I thought he said cat claws. I'm like, Garfield? I'm like, what is happening? Like, I don't know. I mean, I'm hoping that they open with that, but more than likely they'll just say, oh, remember that monster we killed last week? I love Macy at that point. I must have missed something. So let me go up here and see. Wait till the dean comes back. Okay, Blue Saver, explain this comment right here. What are you saying? So let me go back up here. I'll come back to that. Erica, I would like to meet this board out in the streets. Oh, Erica, they can't handle you in the streets. You know that. They're not going to show up. They're going to send their assistants. You're going to beat some people making $5 an hour. I love Macy Jetta Mel's book. I know. And Mel kind of took some little humble pie and she decided she wasn't going to be like Macy because we know Mel can't do that. Mel can't keep her mouth shut, but she did accept reality that she didn't have a job anymore, even though that wasn't reality. Now, I think there has to be some repercussions because she did do this and go viral and she's a teacher at this school. I just don't think they can do anything right now because it would also look like retaliation on the school's part if they let her go. And then that might start a lot more crap with the students and chaos ensue. But I mean, she is teaching a class where basically activism is the main theme. I mean, what did they think was going to happen? Wait till the dean comes. She can come back. Like, if she comes back, Erica's going to street. I also love the CGI monsters. It's not human demon like the OG. Yeah, I like the CG. I like the fact that they're creating different monsters, and I bet you they're creating them off of like mythological being, creatures that we see in the books, like probably out from all over the world, like Arabian monsters, Japanese, Chinese, Thai. I mean, I think it's cool to incorporate all of them, and they can do that in this. All of these ancient cultures that I see when I watch Ancient Aliens, yes, I watch that show, can be incorporated very nicely in here. And they've already kind of established that aliens exist in the charm world. So do a lot. And Harry didn't even seem worried because he was pimping. Nick Fury does not get worried. And Harry is kind of like a cross between Bond and Nick Fury. So, I mean, that's who he is. I was getting Jimmy vibes. At first when you saw the shoe, the black shoes, he's pretty much almost all black. I thought it was Jimmy too. Maggie was smart to know it was from their memories. I agree with that. Their memories and also fears too. Like I love that she was like, these are the things that we were worried about when we were coming in. So that's kind of cool. But the prison doesn't have a way of translating emotions because I guess monsters aren't that complex. So they don't have to do that. Yes, Mel and Macy are like so similar but different, and poor Maggie always in the middle. Maybe Piper will come out of the portal and be like, let me give you some advice. Hell, Piper used to fight with both Piper fought with Paige a lot, which was funny because it used to be Prue and Phoebe were at each other's throats, and Piper was the mediator. And then it became Piper and Paige at each other's throats, and then Phoebe became the mediator. So it's like the middle child just has to have that role. Even if it's not your personality, in the middle now. So what you do, Piper's like, it's my turn to be neurotic and it's my turn to fight. So she literally, essentially Piper became Prue after Prue died. I thought that was very funny. I like with Paige and Piper, but eventually they got along. Yeah, they did. They still had their moments. Paige was a very stubborn person and Piper was extremely neurotic. So, because Paige was used to being an only child, kind of like Macy is, she was used to doing stuff without a committee vote. And so there were a lot of times, especially when Paige would have a boyfriend, that she would act out a lot. It kills me how the writers can't make Maggie just have a guy who's a friend. It always has to be some kind of romantic relationship. I know. I feel you. That girl, and she sleeps with all of them. I don't know what to tell you. I do think the exit just appears at different places in the prison. The monsters just walk through it. They're like, yeah, shiny crack. Let's just go. Mel and Macy are so much alike. It makes sense they have a clash. They do. They have the same stubborn level. They have the same, like, they both want the same outcome. They just go about getting it in very different ways, because Macy is more patient, except when it comes to wanting to have sex with Harry. Let's not forget that. Let's not forget that. She was losing her crap when we first saw them with the allergy. She was very Harry needy. And so wanted this stuff right now. Let's fix this right now. I got my love life to think about. I got time for this. So I thought that was interesting that when it comes to Harry, when it's Harry, Macy is 180. Like, I am going 150 miles an hour, but everything else is like 2 miles an hour. It's fine. Again, Macy and Mel don't get along well together, but they never really clicked. Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's getting better. Like I said, when I saw them both literally say each other's names first, because they normally, you can go back and watch this in other episodes, normally first Maggie, then Mel, then Macy. It was never, Macy calling Mel first or Mel calling Macy, and they both did it in the same episode. I thought I won the charm lottery today. I was like, what? Because this is one of the things I've wanted to happen. I want Macy and Mel to become very, very close. Like, I want, Macy to have the same overprotectiveness of Mel that she has of Maggie. I really want this. And I want, Mel to be kind of like the Maggie role, which she's kind of doing. Like, you do see that Mel pep talk Macy a lot, telling her how awesome she is, how smart she is. If anybody can run safe spaces, which thing it's you, and solve all these problems, it's you. You're brilliant. You're always this, you're always that. That's why when Macy was saying, she needed to wake up and learn reality and play the game, and you trashed your own career yourself, it was so demeaning for somebody who's been pep talking you from, literally probably the end of season 1 to the present time. So that kind of bothered me a little bit. Okay, let me see. I was at Kevin. I'm trying to find you again. There you are. You're all in blue savior. How are so many monsters leaving so quick when it took the charm ones like forever? And there were 3 of them, because the monsters don't have to think. It's like, shiny, run to it. We don't have to have a sentimental moment. We don't have to act confused. We're just going to go that way. Kevin, I agree. Her fear was weak, but it's based on her emotions. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I mean, they're making it seem like Maggie has no emotional depth. It's like she only thinks about boys and sex and living her best life. That's what they're making it seem like. She has no other concerns. This is the year of Maggie, but right now the year of Maggie just wants to bang Antonio. That's what they're making it seem like. These are not my words. This is how they're writing her. It's very interesting. I don't think it was her fear. I just think she doesn't want him. I mean, I don't want her to want him either, so that's fair. But the problem is they've never actually shown us in this episode, if we're going by what everybody was trying to deal with, which is their fear over their goal, because they use their goal to, power 3 goal to get out of the situation by focusing on the image and seeing through it. But they couldn't get past their fear. Well, Maggie's fear really never came into play unless her fear was being alone. But that doesn't make sense, because all 3 of them were alone in this for a little while. So the only thing we kept seeing is her talking to Macy, and then her seeing Antonio. So is she scared of, is Antonio her fear? Like, not even being with him, is he just her fear? I don't know. It's just weird. I'm sorry, but Maggie's fear was weak. It's like in the first season when she was punished with visions of Parker breaking up with her. I remember that. That's what I'm saying. She's boyfriend. I don't know. She doesn't want a relationship and wants it to be about her and telling Jordan, hey, hashtag Jordan, not today. She focuses a lot on relationships. And it's sad that her fear wasn't being in a relationship with Jordan. Because that's what it seems like. She was scared to be in a committed relationship with somebody like Jordan, who's more mature, who's a little bit older, who has his crap together, and being scared that she's gonna figure out what she really wants. But no, it's literally Antonio. So that was me. Hashtag Jordan for life. Absolutely. I like this episode. It was all about them as sisters. Notice how they only called for each other when they were alone. Only Maggie called for Harry once and only one time. Yeah, that's true. I would have personally been calling for Harry all of the time. I'm like, Harry. I like how Mel was calling for the guards. She's like, guards. I'm like, what would happen if these monsters came in? What was she going to do? They didn't have powers there in the prison. So what was she going to do if the guards came? Ah, no. So glad that Antonio scene was fake news. Me too. Although, knock on wood here, it may not stay as fake news. That's my problem. The Chaos Tomb was definitely an impressive trap. I agree. I want to know who made it. It's very intricate. I really want to know who made that. I love that Jordan is still around, like with the family, even if Maggie is having her time of me and he saw that Antonio moment, hashtag Jordan for life. I wonder what was going through his head when he saw, Maggie and Antonio actually, drinking together. What was he actually thinking? Like, oh, so you can't go out with me, but you can go out with this fool, the guy you said was your enemy. Yeah, I would have been pretty mad. Yes, made it in time. Yay, you made it in time, Kevin, though I've known this because I've been talking to you. I love the whole concept of the memories playing like a projector. I did like that. Or VR, I think they call it VR mode, like VR. That was pretty cool. I don't know what that picture was going to change from Antonio to Jordan because it should have. I knew Antonio fat. I needed to just forget his name. All right. Yeah. Macy was like, no, just don't touch my hair. I'm telling you, I don't know what was going on, but I think they're making it about that. And that's going to make me mad. It's going to set me off. Although you guys will be proud of me. I did finally post up to the CW writers on Twitter because I never use my Twitter account. I have like hardly no followers. I'm hardly ever on there. But I did go on the CW's website, Twitter account for the CW writers. And I did hashtag what I said in my last review about mental health. And I'm like, if somebody tells you that they are trying to self-harm, then, that should be taken seriously. Basically, you don't just have your main character just brush it off so they can get back to their love interest. And I said, do better, writers. That's literally what I said. Because I was oh my gosh, guys. I went into this episode tonight with such trepidation. I thought I was going to be very angry. I was like, I don't want to have a repeat of how mad I was about that certain thing last week. I'm like, I said, hopefully, Abigail will not be in this episode, so I won't be upset. But I was hot last week because you do not mess with mental illness or suicide or self-harm with me at all. I don't joke about it. You'll never hear me. You never tell me say somebody should just go kill themselves. I don't say crap like that because that shit is serious. So I was so mad about the whole self-harm thing last week. It was I was in my feelings, guys. Let's see here. Erica, I'm in the same boat with you. Okay, I'll probably have to go back. Oh, there's your comment. Next week looks like it's going to speak to my spirit. I've had so many people ask to touch my hair or not even ask every time I wear it natural. I saw it in Macy's face. It's time to fight. I mean, again, I am a curly girl. I understand. Like, is your hair real? First of all, if my hair was not real and I paid for it, it's still real. So it's mine. Don't put your hands on it. It's just like when I was pregnant. Don't touch me. My baby doesn't want you to touch me. I don't want you to touch me. Get away from me. So, and I'm a nice person. Keep your hands to yourself. 42 days. Thank you, Fatman Slim 02. Erica, yes, I thought it was Jimmy at first. They were still in the prison. I really thought that was Jimmy or Nick Fury. That was a Nick Fury moment. Jimmy too. Looks like he is going to rock the boat next week. I think she's going to be an activist next week. Or maybe Sister Mel needs to go up there and like, let me tell you about what's happening today, racist mofos. That's what she should do. She should seek Mel on them. Be like, Mel, they were messing with my hair, making me feel insignificant and racist as hell. Okay, I got you. I got a speech for that. It's on page 25 of my journal. I'll be there in 5 minutes. With Mel, I felt this in last season cooled her down a little bit, and I kind of liked it. I don't like the male bashing, but it's part of who she is. I'm glad they brought back that fire. Yeah. And I get it. Like, the problem with extremes, every group has extremes. I don't care what you're fighting for. There's always going to be somebody who takes it to extremes. I do understand when people say, I don't like all of the politics shoved down my throat. I get that. I don't like when people use the term, I hate things that are woke, that irritates me, because if you're that unhappy about people saying, oh, this was progression and this is woke, then that means you're asleep and you need to wake the hell up, because this stuff is happening. And the only reason it's in these shows is because they're taking it from stuff that's actually happening outside of this. But I know for a fact that no matter what it is, there are extremes, and there will always be extremes. So Mel is one of those people that takes things to an extreme level. They play her like a lesbian that hates all men. As a queer woman, I don't hate men. Now, I'm probably not the best example, because I was married to a guy. I'm married to a trans. I've dated women. I've dated men. I don't care about gender. So I guess my technical term is pansexual. I don't care what your part is. I go for the person. I am very attracted to women. I can be very attracted to guys. It doesn't matter. I am just queer. It's why I identify as queer. I have friends that will never touch a man. I have friends that will never touch a woman, and vice versa. You know, it's just what it is. They make Mel into the stereotype of the lesbian that's like, ugh, go that way. Men, you're useless. There's nothing good about you, and blah, blah, blah. And I never understood that, because I don't feel like that's a prerequisite to being in the LGBTQ community. But, you know, it is what it is. Did anyone else get Jimmy vibes from Harry at the end? Yep, I think we're all in agreement that that was definitely Jimmy. Like, Harry was channeling his Jimmy. He was doing a cosplay. They always have Mel versus Macy. They do. They really do. I don't know what it is, but they always pit. But I mean, again, it's because they really are very similar. And go about things in two different ways, but they want the same out. They both want the same thing. And both of them are used to being the oldest. Like, Macy's extremely independent. Mel's independent, even though she's the older sister. And they both have been in an older sister taking care of someone kind of capacity. Macy is now. Mel grew up with Maggie doing it. So yeah, it makes sense. But yeah, Dirty Dish is definitely Dirty Dish sounds like a porn site. I don't know why. It just sounds like they're just going to like something like RedTube or something. You know, I don't know what's happening in Charmed. So glad Mel called the professor on her BS. Me too. They could only be in the command center, home, or safe space, so they were bound to find each other eventually. Not necessarily. If it had been like how Mel was, they'd see each other, but every time they would try and connect in the room, they would just disappear. I mean, that would have been interesting. And then they'd have to try and leave messages for each other to try and figure stuff out. I think that would have made it really interesting. Like putting puzzles together, leaving notes for each other in places, hoping that person comes across that message the next time they shift into the room or whatever. That would have been really cool. Yeah, I think the point of this episode was to explore their bond. I agree with that. This reminds me of the episode in OG Charm when they were trapped in the house by Barbas. Yeah, I saw elements of that, and also of Piper when they were when she was literally in, I think they had her in the attic and she thought she was in an insane asylum or something. And I remember seeing little animated birds and stuff. It was creepy. It's a very creepy episode. I think they wanted all the sisters together. It's a big fan calling. I mean, they should. Am I still freezing up, Niley? Because I just read your message. Am I freezing? Let me move down. Let me know, guys, if I'm freezing right now. I don't know what that is because I am hardwired into my router, so that's very interesting. Okay, let me start down here. Sounds like CW writers need a diversity and inclusion team. Yes, but if my story's any indication, doesn't mean they'll learn that lesson because my job sure did. A straight love triangle is what's boring about them, Kevin Laffel. If it's in any way an LGBTQ love triangle, it'd be great. My problem is that whenever they have an LGBTQ couple on the CW, something happens. Okay, so what I think is happening, I don't think it's my connection. I think it's StreamYard. And the reason I'm saying that is I've watched some of the turnouts videos and we use the same service. And I know sometimes he'll talk and it'll freeze. I think there's something going on with the server for StreamYard. Maybe there are too many people on it and that's why it does that. But I'm going to figure that out because I pay for it. So it needs to work. So yay. Just bear with me. Let me know if I need to repeat something. Sounds like CW writers. I already said that one. Let me go up. Okay. Although I would totally ship a male love triangle. Yeah. I'm down with that. That's a rarity too. Well, what I was saying about CW and their couples in general, they're LGBT. So outside of Sarah and Ava, so I think the couple, is it Cheryl and Tony? I don't really watch Riverdale, but I know some of my friends love Cheryl and Tony and Riverdale. Apparently they're no longer together. In the 100, they literally killed off one of their main lesbian couples. Actually, one of the characters in the pairing got killed off. More recently, in Nancy Drew, the character Bess was with a girl named Elizabeth, who they had a talk at the end of the last season. Then we saw one episode where Elizabeth was like, I love you and I want you to meet my parents. And Bess didn't go. She kind of blew her off. And then we never heard from her again. It's like in Nancy Drew, everybody else is allowed to have relationships and flirtations unless it's a queer couple or LGBT couple. And then they act like it's not a thing anymore. And it kind of ticks me off because why bother introducing this couple if you had no plans for them? I mean, even if you're going to break them up. Don't have her just not be around for like 12 episodes, 13 episodes, and then randomly show up for an episode. And then, best not show up, not text, not call. And then another 4 or 5 episodes go by and there's nothing. So it's what's been putting me off a lot with Nancy Drew is that they are kind of doing the get rid of your gays, kind of trope that I hate. And it is making it very difficult for me to watch Nancy Drew because I still have that in my head. So it's just something that they do with LGBT couples. It irritates the hell out of me. And I don't know, outside of Nora in The Flash, I've never seen a gay couple in The Flash at all. Yes, we have Nyssa and we have, Grace, which is great. They're comic book accurate. They were in the comics, so I'm cool with that. But I mean, I don't think we're going to see that in Stargirl. I don't think we're going to see that in Superman and Lois. I don't think we're going to see that in any other Arrowverse show. So, I mean, hell, even Mr. Terrific, who they made gay, his husband divorced him because he couldn't talk about his superhero identity. So it's like, they just can't ever work it out. Oh, wait, The Flash does have Sing. Sing is married. We may have seen his husband, but I don't know. I guess he's not important because we don't really see them a lot. So it's just bullshit. Kal-El, Yashua, Holy Spirit Master. Cool. It's, you tell me what that means. They destroy their relationship for some stereotypical drama. Yeah, they do that in everything. It's why it's literally, I started reviewing Nancy Drew and people are like, why aren't you reviewing it? And I'm like, because this pissed me off. And so I'm watching it. I'm like, whatever. I like the actress who plays George. She did amazing work playing the lesbian character in half of it on Netflix. If you haven't seen half of it, very good movie. I think I even did a review on it. I just do not like what they did. Bess as a character annoys the hell out of me. She's sweet sometimes, but she's a klepto. She's flaky. She's flighty. It is what it is. After what happened to her in the last episode, maybe she'll get better. But I mean, the whole thing with Elizabeth, her and Elizabeth were cute together. Elizabeth is very down to earth. She's kind of like Macy. And it really irritated me. So, yeah. Erica, dang it, All American, Coop, and Patience. Is that a couple? I have not been watching that. I heard All American's good. It's just another show I got to try and get into. There's too many. That's the problem. We've seen Sing Husband that time he almost died. So that one time, cool. Just that one time though, right? I'm like, one time. What does that tell you, Chase? They are married. And we saw him one time. They're lesbians, but we've seen Alex and Maggie with Supergirl. But what happened with Alex? Maggie left because she didn't want kids, which is something they should have talked about before they agreed to get married, which did not make sense considering how Alex plans everything. Yeah, it's stupid. Cheryl and Tony were the only reason that I kept watching Riverdale, but they turned Cheryl into a legit psychopath. I mean, let's be fair. Who in Riverdale at this point is not a psychopath? I'm very behind on Riverdale. I think I've seen like the first season. But yeah, I was excited though that they actually had a legit canon couple that was queer. But again, I guess they don't now. And I think Tony's character is pregnant or something like that in real life, and they had to write it into the storyline. I think it's all crazy. It's all crazy. So Riverdale's nuts. We do have a trans couple on Girl with Nia and Brain. True, we do. And you said, "Oh wait, they broke up." We do not. I don't know. It's so stupid. It's just so dumb. It's just so dumb. I don't understand. We do have a whole legit lesbian in Batwoman. Both Batwomans have been lesbians, which is great, I guess. But none of them have had legit stable relationships. So we have literally a LGBT driven series that can't keep a partnership to save their damn lives. So I'm like, just saying, just throwing it out there. Smoke up. Okay. Spring break is over and I have class in the morning. Nyleave, thank you for joining. We will not be in here much longer. We're almost to an hour. I know it's late, 10:41 my time, Central Standard Time. I know people have to go to school, go to work in the morning. Let's see. We got lots of gays in Batwoman, which is fun. We do. They just aren't with each other. We've got Sophie, who is pining over Kate, who's never coming back. Kate, who's never coming back. Now, in the comics, Sophia is a lesbian. I don't know what the heck they're doing with her in Batwoman. I need to watch Batwoman because I haven't watched the episode, so I have to review that tomorrow after my live stream for the Snyder Cut. But I feel like she probably is either bi or lesbian. She kind of it felt to me like she was into Alice, and that just creeps me out. And then, of course, there's Ryan, who is completely gaga over her trifling girlfriend, Angelique, and how Angelique was already trying to bang another girl, or was banging another girl when she came to her as Batwoman. You know, she didn't really know she was that was Ryan, but she had another girl. She got over that breakup quick. She was so brokenhearted. So, yeah, Batwoman has a lot of gays, a lot of lesbians who can't get their crap together and keep a partner. So, yeah. And I mean, I may be alone in this. I don't know Mary's sexuality, but part of me wants her to be bi, and I want her to get with Ryan, and I want Ryan to calm the hell down. I want her to calm down in terms of how she talks to Luke and Mary. I want her to calm down. She can be aggressive out on the streets. Just be calm with your partners. Just sit down. Be quiet. Lips. Talk to your plant. Meditate. Like, I really do. I know a lot of people are like, oh, but her and Mary. But Mary, I think, would be really good for Ryan. And quite frankly, everybody wants her with Luke. I don't want Mary with Luke because they're like siblings, and it would be like incest now at this point for me. So it would be very strange. Let's see. Kevin and Fang are still the Riverdale. Okay, that's good. I know who Kevin and Fang are. The CW has always had a problem with diversity and inclusion. Sad, but nothing new. Very true, Taylor. And especially it's sad for a network that boasts inclusion and diversity and then do not write it correctly. I don't know if you watch Riverdale, but they piss me off with their gay couples and the drama they create. Yep. Like I said, I heard about the whole thing with Cheryl and Tony. And I also read somewhere that they weren't giving Tony a storyline. She was basically just Cheryl's girlfriend or girl thing. And that's a problem. I like to see Ryan and Mary. Actually, I feel like they're gonna out Ryan and Sophie together. If they put Sophie with Ryan, I will be pissed. Because not only will that be stupid because Ryan and her have no chemistry in terms of how I see them. Two beautiful Black women, but that means nothing in terms of chemistry. They don't look right together. Like, I promise you, if this happens, you will see it in my review. I will be pissed because they will also make Sophie into a slut. And I hate calling a woman that name, but I mean, she was with Kate. Then she's sleeping with Julia. Now she's sleeping with Ryan. What is happening? For someone who was stuck in the closet, are you making up for lost time? I don't understand, but that will tick me off. I will be angerous if they do that crap. And it is a TV show. I'll get over it. But I think that's a stupid choice. And then you're basically doing that to keep Sophie's actress, valid. That's why you would do it. It's not everything. It's not any of that thing. I'd be livid if they did that crap. Sophie needs to go back to Julia. I agree. I liked her with Julia. They have chemistry together. Julia is problematic for a lot of people. As a biracial, I see it because, Alfred did have her with a black woman and she's supposed to be mixed. But CW came up with their own stupid logic, and I won't even go back. I already said what that was back in season 1. I thought it was a stupid explanation, but what can you do? But the actress who plays Julia, I think, has very good chemistry with the actress who plays Sophie. So I am cool with that. Like the CW does make me mad. Another reason why I love Charmed. POC actually the leads. I agree with this. I do agree with that. I think that they are trying to do better with progression and diversity. I really feel like where they left off last time, they couldn't do a lot last season because everything was so Harry focused. So they couldn't actually do what they wanted to do and what we were used to them doing in season 1. No matter how you feel about Charmed season 1 had some very good stories, especially in terms of diversity and I would just talk about it like an LGBT community, and like with Medusa, how a rape victim, and people don't ever talk about that. Even in mythology, she was raped and punished for it. And I love that they incorporated that into the Charmed universe. And that's stuff that they don't talk about. So now that they're doing that more in this season, I know they're going to get other people that watch or trash talk any woke progressive shows are really going to be like all over this one because it is very woke. And I hate to say it because I hate that term, but it is. It's very progressive. It's very realistic to the society we live in. And I think the main problem is people don't like that. They don't like seeing what's actually happening. People would love to just go back to everybody accepting all of the crap that they had to put up with for generations. And I think that's really interesting. Like, why are you rocking the boat? It's worked this far. It's just stupid. Yeah, but it's worked in your favor. And that's what you're not getting. It's not a fair system. Why aren't you getting this? So, yeah, all the people that have problems with that, they're going to definitely hate on Charm this season. I already know it. I give the CW points for trying. I just want to practice what they preach behind the shoes. I'm telling you, like, go back to Candace Patton. If everything we're hearing is true, they did not have her back when she got cast. I feel really bad for her. They've improved with Tony's character this season, though. See, like I said, I am so behind, but I'm glad Tony's getting a little bit more. Tony's actress called out Riverdale for treating her like the token black character, and apparently she got less pay. I think I heard that. Wow. So I'm gonna be real with you. I thought she was biracial and that's me racially profiling because honestly, I'm just looking for other mixed people, but I'm just claiming you. But like me, she's kind of ambiguous as someone who's black. So you don't really know. If you just really looked at her, you really could just profile her as anything. But I just chose to think she was mixed with something, and she might be. I don't know. I haven't looked her up. Like I knew Kat was I can't forget Kat's last name. Bonnie in the Vampire Diaries, I knew she was mixed. I could tell, even though she was darker skinned. I mean, there's just some things. I feel like I have radar for other mixed people. But her mother, I think, is English and Russian, and her father is Nigerian or black. I think she's either African, part of African, or he might have been Jamaican. I can't remember, but I knew she was mixed. And I know that traditionally, a lot of CW shows cast a lot of mixed people even in black roles, it is problematic, especially if you are a biracial who calls yourself biracial, which is why I like Charmed. Macy's mixed. Her dad's black, her mother is supposed to be Hispanic. Same with Maggie. So both Macy and Maggie are mixed. Maggie didn't know she was half black, but she learned. So really the true Latin or Latina X in the show is only male. There are as a matter of fact, I don't think there were any other Latina X's in the entire show that was advertised as a Latina X series. But yeah, it's interesting how many people could be passing for something else in the series. But it's problematic. Like I said, it's problematic. And then as a biracial person, it's also like sad for me because, I'm a voice actor. I do acting. I've done stage acting. When you look at me, you don't know what I am. I accept that. You have theories on what you think I am, but honestly, I don't get offended if you don't think, oh, you're a black girl. I know there's no universe where I'm ever going to look white. I look like a minority, but I know I fit the mold for a lot of people with olive skin and dark hair and dark eyes. I actually have reddish brown hair. The lighting here sucks. So my hair is a lot more red. You just can't see it. But when I'm out in the public and if I'm going to a casting call, they try and cast you if it's not a diverse cast by what you look like. And then as a biracial who's ambiguous, I mean, what do you fit? If it's not an ambiguous biracial, then technically any role you take can be seen as cultural appropriation, because just because I look Hispanic doesn't mean I should play a Hispanic. Hence the controversy with Macy and Macy and Maggie's actresses, because they are not Latinx or Hispanic in real life at all. They are literally, if you break it down, Black and white. And I think Maggie's almost exactly like me, Black, Native American, and white. Probably a little bit of Asian thrown in like me. She might have some. I have a little bit of Asian thrown in too. I think I have 10% Asian. But like, I just think it's interesting. So CW likes to cast biracials in different roles. It's not a good thing, but it also means that as an actress, what roles would you take? Because there's not, I guess the bigger problem is, outside a handful of roles that are written for interracial families and their children, there aren't any, there's nothing. There's no roles. So actresses just won't ever work because we don't have any roles. That is the bigger issue. But then if you write roles for biracials, sometimes it's seen negatively within both communities of the races. So like I said, when I did this video, you're going to see a lot of stuff that, is hard to listen to and might put people in their feelings, but it's the reality of the situation. It's a mess. So did Joe ever actually adopt Barry? I don't think Barry and Iris are legally siblings. I think they just share a father figure. So I have seen both of this, like on both sides. Like I've seen some people who have said there was an episode, and I have to find it, where he says he had legally adopted Barry so he could live with him. I don't remember this though. And I've seen every episode of The Flash, but that doesn't mean it didn't happen, because sometimes conversations happen and they're very quick and you miss it. You miss it. Unless you're looking for it, you miss it. So, I mean, I could see him being a legal guardian, but then some people would still take that as a parent role. And then that would make him and Iris not adopted siblings, I guess. I don't know. It's a mess, but I'd like to think that they didn't. But at the end of the day, they are not biologically related. So no biology means no incest. They are not blood related. But a lot of people are like, oh, you married your sister. I'm like, okay, you're never going to make people happy. It is what it is. There are a lot of Iris haters out there. They hate Iris. They hate her. They think she's the most useless character in all of the CW. It's a thing. I'll go down on the West Allen ship, but yeah, I see where you're coming from. Yeah. Barry and Iris grew up as siblings. Now they're married. So again, they don't even act like siblings. They act like best friends. They act like freaking Dawson and Joey from Dawson's Creek. The Barry-Iris relationship is kind of strange if you took it a certain way for too long. All of them, every relationship on the CW is strange. Felicity and Oliver was the weirdest effing relationship for me and all of the CW. And well, also him and Laurel. Him and Laurel are pretty weird. So they're all weird. They're all weird. However, I am here for woke programming. I am too. I want to be awake. I want to see what's happening in the world. I don't want to have my eyes closed and pretend that everything is kosher when it is not. But yeah, I do think that the CW is, I really don't know if they're trying. I feel like they just built this brand and inclusion is something they have to say. And it's kind of like the voice acting world right now, how now they're trying to include more Black voice actors when that should have been the case all along. Don't just do it because it makes your organization look good. Do it because it's the right thing to do and go by talent. Why does the color of your skin really matter when you're not even seen on screen? It doesn't make any sense to me, but never has. Okay, they never adopted him, so it's legally okay. I'm still very weird. Okay, a lot of them just hate the actress, which is sad because she is amazing. Yeah, I don't have a problem with Iris as actress. A lot of people, again, I think I've said this in our last Arrowverse Tuesday, or the one before our last one, they were so bitter that Iris became team leader of the Flash team. That's fine. What they should be bitter about is that you got Lois Lane over here being this kick-ass reporter and getting to be this kick-ass and investigative journalist. And Candace Patton has wanted that for her character from season 1, and they never allow her to do it. They had a millisecond when she was able to, be a reporter, and then they let her have the Citizen, because they want her to be a reporter. But then when she starts being a reporter, then she gets trapped in the Mirrorverse. It's like every time she tries to be the Lois Lane of the Flash, which she is basically the Flash's version of Lois Lane, they stop her from doing it. So she can't do their actual comic book canon career. And then they are the ones writing her in these situations. And now I'm seeing videos where like, why didn't Savitar kill Iris? She's a waste of space. Why did they bring Patty back? Patty was better for her. Yeah. The Flash and Barry did go out with Patty. He went out with Fiona. He went out with Iris in the comics, and Iris was kind of endgame until she died, and yada, 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 and then Crisis happened. If you read the comics, you know where the twins come from during Crisis, how he got with Iris in the future, blah, blah, blah. Because Iris is originally from the future. Now, she doesn't have the same storyline in Arrowverse comics. But having said that, it is not the actress's fault that the writers have done this. They wrote this crap all on their own. It's the same character assassination they did with Black Canary. Black Canary in the comics is cool as hell. And in the Arrowverse, no. I like Black Siren, but I do not like, I've never accepted Black Canary because Black Canary to me, outside the 5 minutes that Sarah took on the persona of Black Canary, which actually was pretty cool, I literally thought it was crap. And as for Barry, everybody's hating on Iris, so they need to be hating on Barry sometimes, because Barry sometimes, most of the time, is a flaming idiot. I mean, he's just flaming idiot. He is not Wally. He's Barry. And Barry Allen makes stupid decisions. He's made stupid decisions in the comics. He makes stupid decisions in the Arrowverse. He made stupid decisions in freaking DCEU. He's just a very stupid character. I don't hate Barry. I just see Barry for what he is. So, is that problematic? Will I get hate for that? Oh, well, it's cool. Yeah, I mean, she didn't have the canary cry at first. Yeah, she had the collar, didn't she? Well, she eventually got a collar that Cisco made. And then Sarah had a device. I mean, she came in with a device. But yeah, Black Siren, without the evil part, Black Siren would have been the cool version of a comic book accurate version of Dinah in the comic. But Dinah was cool. Dinah was a very cool character, or is a very good character. At least not to me. Laugh out different vibes. Oh, sorry. Laugh out. Barry and Iris are definitely not the same as them. Yeah, Barry and Iris are their own. Barry and Iris are definitely their own couple. Again, when you say Iris's name, I will tell you this actually, because this has happened on my channel. If I say anything negative about Caitlin, people come for me. I am not shitting you. People have sent me messages on my Facebook. I think I've said this before. I get people so angry that they feel the need to threaten my life over a character that does not exist. So it's really weird. But if I got on here and just straight trash talked Iris, I think my subscriber count would jump. I probably have maybe 100 new subscribers in like one day just from trash talk. If I made a video saying why Iris West sucks, I guarantee you I would have a shoot ton of subscribers in one day. And that is sad to me. It's very sad. Especially since, let's be clear, and you don't have to be in the comics, but this is just what it is. Caitlin is a villain in the comics. She was not Team Flash. She was not hardly ever in the Flash. She's actually more in Batman's universe. She was more with the Suicide Squad. She was with the Pentians. She was with a lot of different villain groups. She had a millisecond stint with the Justice League. I mean, one freaking volume where she joined the Justice League, which really wasn't joined. They didn't even trust her. She's never been this sweet, understanding, always does the right thing, seems to be closer to Barry than his own wife character that they created in the Arrowverse. Now, the Arrowverse, it's its own bubble. The DCEU is its own bubble. They create these different universes. None of these are comic accurate because Vibe does go on to be a Justice Leaguer sometimes. He's kind of like an anti-hero, kind of like how Black Adam was, only not as crazy. Vibe was not Flash anything either. You would run into these characters because sometimes a lot of these comic characters will share villains. Not all the time. Sometimes they have villains that are just theirs, but every so often you'll see them cross, or maybe the Justice League will deal with one of the villains from whatever city they're in. But these were not Star Lab people. They weren't. So when people get up in arms about it, it's interesting to me because I can tell immediately that you've never effing read that damn comic book and you don't know a damn thing about the Flash universe as a whole. You only know what you've seen in the Arrowverse, and the people that are like, Snowberry, I'm a Snowberry fan, or I'm a Wes Allen fan. If you're not a Wes Allen fan, or if you're not a Snowberry fan, you're trash. I don't deal with that toxicity crap because I have a real life. So I'm like, when I log off here and I'm hanging out with you guys, I love talking to you guys, but I guarantee you, if I see arguments like, oh, Snowberry and West Allen, and I hate you and you suck and I hope you die, I'm log off and be like, okay, your lives one, because it's stupid. It is a stupid argument because at the end of the day, these people ain't real. The lady who plays Caitlin is married with a baby to a man who is not Barry because she is not actually Caitlin. I have no idea who Iris is married to or dating. Ain't my business because all I care about is what she does on The Flash, which on Tuesdays from 7 to 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. So her business. Barry is married. I've seen his wife in pictures. I mean, he posts them a lot, so I've seen her. I think they're even having a baby. Not Iris or Caitlin. Get over it. It's stupid. It's okay if you're shipping a couple. I ship people. I get disappointed. I do. Like if Ryan ends up with Sophie, I'm going to think it's the stupidest thing at the end of the day, but I'm not going to call anybody an idiot. I'm not going to attack anybody. I don't understand that. I don't understand the lack of critical thinking in any of that shit. So I'm just saying. I know I'm over here preaching, guys, but that stuff, I'm telling you, I've had it. I've had people come for me. Whenever I say anything negative about Caitlin on this channel, they come for me. I don't know what it is. I don't care. Like, it's not offending me at the end of the day. I don't lose any sleep over it. But it's just interesting. But yeah, just had to put that out there. It's just stupid. Yeah, toxic stand. That's exactly what it is. There are people in their feelings about an imaginary worlds they don't live in. And I think COVID has made it worse. I think sitting in your house, not being around other people, to be fair, some of them probably were never around other people, but now they really can't be. It's probably made a lot of people a lot more reclusive and give them a lot more time to be even more toxic in their lives. So, yeah. I didn't leave any crumbs. Look, I dropped the mic days, years, decades ago. I don't give 5 Fs. I just don't. I don't. I don't have time. In my 20s, I was so sensitive. In my 40s, I'm too tired to be sensitive. I don't care. I just don't. I don't. I like reviewing things. I love having conversations. I love people's theories. I really love when people, especially when we're talking about something and people like will see something that I don't. Effing love that. Because then that makes me understand something as a whole. It's why I like doing collaborations with people like the Turnout, because he'll see things from a perspective that I will see completely opposite. Like I like Mel and Abigail. He does not like Abigail and Mel together. Does that mean that I'm going to be toxic and be like, turn out? The hell's wrong with you? You're stupid. No, it just means that he sees something and a different perspective that I'm not seeing. And I'm completely okay with that. If people could do that on a regular basis, think about how enjoyable fandoms would be. But that is not what happens. In my Yashahime videos, if you talk about Sesshomaru and Rin and you say something like, the fact that Rin was like, 8 or 9 years old and he was 250 when they met and now they're making babies and stuff and married. And you have a problem with that, they will come for you. I haven't said anything about that because in general, I think Sesshomaru and Rin are fine. I don't really care either way. Japanese culture is not American culture. They, back in the feudal era, married people off at 12. So, I mean, if you're thinking about historical accuracy, that's not too big of a stretch. Now, him being 250 years old is a problem, but, it is what it is. But I'm telling you, they will come for you because these people are protective of their fandoms and their ships. Don't you mess with them. Don't you mess with them. They will come for you. They will cancel you before you even realize you were not. Look, you don't even realize you're somebody to cancel and you already canceled. That's how fast that'll happen. Oh my God, the Ruby fandom can be so toxic because of that. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Ruby, Star Trek. I mean, I got a list. Doctor Who fandom's insane. Insane. I've been watching Doctor Who since I was 5 and I'm almost 45. So that should tell you how long I've been watching Doctor Who. My Sesame Street was Tom Baker. But you say one thing off kilter, you are trash. You don't know what you're talking about, blah, blah, blah. It's a mess. It is a mess. Let's see here. Girl, then don't look on Charm Twitter because they're real toxic about Mel and Abby. Are they really? What are they saying? I probably should look at that. My problem wasn't shipping wise with Mel and Abby, because again, Mel and Abby need to get both of their crap together. I like them together, and eventually it'd be cool if they got together. But I mean, if they never got together, my problem was Abby was literally trying to harm herself, and Mel was like, "Well, there was your stuff, boo." I'm like, I gotta go find my girl Ruby. So you pick that up. That was my problem. That's my toxicity on that conversation. That was messed up, but that was a writer's issue. That is who I go after. I go after the writing. I'm like, you guys are full of crap. There is an episode right now of a show called The Bold Type that I despise with everything in my soul. And I actually like the series The Bold Type, but there's a character named Kat and she is biracial. Her mother is white. Her father is black. And she's gone by mixed or biracial her whole life. And this episode basically told all of us biracials that are in the same situation with a black father, a white mother, or vice versa, that we are brainwashed. And by claiming your mother or whatever parent is opposite to the black parent, you are living in a world with rose-colored glasses, and you're wrong. And this all came about because she got a promotion and was considered the first, I think, black. Well, they wanted to know what to put on her bio. Was she going to be the first black female social media director or manager or whatever? And she was like, I've never really called myself that. I've always identified as both. And they made her feel in this episode that she was wrong for claiming her mom. And that has set me off. I mean, it's been probably a year or two now since that episode. It was probably in the second season. I got so angry about that because even the verbiage, her mother said, I guess we wanted to raise you so people would just see you for your abilities and your skills and not for just your color. And she said, well, that is ignorant. And you basically put rose-colored glasses on and you're not preparing me for the real world. And I'm like, I get that when people look at you, they may see you as black. But that is not the problem of that episode. The episode was you basically told her by saying that she's biracial that she's not allowed to basically be her true self. She had to say, because she looks more black, that she is representing the black culture. And that is the problem that I have with this. You know me, guys. I love my black side. I claim my blackness every damn day. I will fight you. I don't care. But I also like my Scottish side. And I'm pretty in tune with my Native American side too, because I was born with two different races. That's the whole purpose of being biracial or multiracial, is that you get to say, this is my family. This is my culture. We are the only race, whatever, even though it's a construct, we are the only race in the whole damn country that people get to decide what we are and we don't. And that episode, woo, I was in my feelings. I was in my feelings. I don't care if you're mixed and you say you're black. I don't know any mixed people that claim to be white, but there are a lot that look more white. So they probably do, because if they say they're black and people just laugh at them, I know if I say you're black, like I'm crazy. So, I mean, I don't care what you identify as, but I mean, by telling somebody they don't have the right to say they're biracial and that they're brainwashed and that they have rose-colored glasses on, that pisses me off. So, yeah. Dropping them crumbs again, I'm sorry. But yeah, bold type. Just look for the episode where Kat gets a promotion. It's in season 2, I believe. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. And they literally credited that episode for starting the biracial conversation. Yeah. And it was written by white writers. So I was very irritated by the whole process. Just throwing it out there. I don't think writers know how to write biracial characters. I don't think they know what biracial characters are. Well, and then I know we're talking about charm guides, but the problem that I've always had with this whole conversation is that unless you were raised in an interracial family, you don't understand what it's like to always feel like you are split into two, and that you have to, like, for some reason, we're expected to pick a side. Go pick. A lot of people that are raised in all white neighborhoods, if they have a negative experience with the white culture, which happens, they later say things like, I don't feel comfortable with white people, so I always identify as this. I've seen it go the other way. Now, what's interesting is when you see a lot of people that are like white and Hispanic, or white and Asian, or white and or even like Hispanic and Asian, any other mix besides white and black, they do not, and let me say this again, they do not categorize these people like they do us. And that in itself is problematic, but the reason that they do that is because white and black are these are the two races that are the most turbulent with each other. So when you already got two groups that are already having issues with each other, and then you got somebody that came out like me, that crap's taboo. They don't want to hear about it. Pick a side and move on, get in your box. Let me know what side of the fight you on. Let's go. That is literally it. It sucks. I've been dealing with this shit for 40 something years. It is crazy. My good friend Blurred Without Fear, I was on his channel. We were talking about Static Shock. And I remember one of the comments was like, well, what the heck does she know about that? And I was like, really? I'm like, but see, they didn't know who I was. So I came out swinging. They don't know me. They don't know me. They don't want this. I love you too, April. It's crazy how writers can write stuff like that and sit there and be like, that look right. they don't know. They do not know. They don't. Something else that you'll probably see in my video, I was compared a lot to, you ever saw this movie, The Imitation of Life? There's a movie called The Imitation of Life. It is a really good movie. It's about a white woman and her black maid who go into business together. And the black maid has a daughter who is black, but looks white. And she pretends to be white, and she treats her mother like crap. And growing up, everyone would say that was me. And I'm like, what? I'm like, she wasn't even mixed. I'm like, what is it? Like, sorry, I digress. You will see more of this in the video. I have a bunch of different people that are going to be in this video. Blurred Without Fear will be doing, and his wife will be doing video or interviews for this video, because they are in an interracial marriage and they have a biracial daughter, which I'm not sure if you guys knew that, but they do. They have a beautiful daughter. She's adorable. And she's going to put up with the same crap I put up with growing up, unfortunately. But thank you, April. Don't apologize. Dropped the knowledge. I dropped it. I'm sorry. We got off kilter here. Let me get off this subject because I'm passionate. I'm a Sagittarius. What is this? The Percy Jackson fandom thinks they are demigods. I was like, y'all are not. Some girl was like, I ran away to New York to find Camp Half Blood. I was like, oh, we should go home. Then they canceled me quick. What? What? I'm like, hold up. Hold up. So the Percy Jackson fandom believes that they are actually demigods. They might actually have taken the reign as the craziest fandom, because that there's something wrong there. There's something seriously wrong. Whew. We always get off kilter, but it's cool. We love the content. Thank you, Kevin. I'm sorry. Well, at least we get most of the bulk of our stuff at the first like 45 to 50 minutes of it, and then we just go crazy. And again, I'm not going to keep you that much longer. I know we're in an hour and a half. I'm sorry. If I did anything, what is wrong with the writers? They are crazy. That's what's wrong with them. I can't. The Percy Jackson thing is going to stick with me tonight, guys. Thank you for sharing this little nugget of wisdom and to let me know that I should never go onto these boards, because I will act a fool. I will act a straight clown. They'll ban me. They will ban me so fast. I will never be able to type Percy Jackson in Google. What the hell gives me the same injury as kids showing up at school with vampire teeth and tiptoeing around in the shades at recess? Man, I'm going to tell you this now, Chase. If I had gone to school and people had on vampire teeth and were hiding in the shadows, that would be like clowns for me. I'm terrified of clowns. Those are fighting words. I would go to the janitor's closet. I would find me some toxic spray, a mop, and a broom, and I'm going to war. I don't care. We going to have it out, because you shouldn't have been out there with fake teeth on in the first place. I'm taking that as an attack. So, oh my God, I love Status Shot. They should bring back. I love the TV series. I love the comic. It was a little bit different. But yeah, I love the Static Shock cartoon series, and they are making a movie. So if the movie does well, they'll make another animated series. They definitely will. Plus, we'll have an empty void because we won't have Black Lightning anymore. I mean, look at me and my feelings about that. You watch the show on TV instead of the app? I do. I actually record it on my DVR. And then that allows me to be able to do an after show, because I watch it while I'm fast forwarding through the commercials. So I don't start watching Charmed to about 8:15. But remember, the commercials take up like a whole 13 and a half minutes of the show. So I can just end on time, because I'm literally just fast forwarding through all of it. So laughing my ass off, 8-year-old Maria ready to brawl the van. Oh, you think Buffy was good? I'm ready. I'm ready. And don't let me see a damn clown. Even let me walk outside and see a clown standing outside. We're going to be on CNN. You need a podcast to listen to you all night. I want to do a podcast. I do. I think I probably should do. I should do like a section of podcasts somewhere. I don't know where I would do it. I guess Spotify. You guys, my podcast would be crazy. Like, they'd be like, does she take stuff? No, I don't. I probably should, though. Let's see. Trying to scroll up, make sure I didn't miss anything. So we're going to do like maybe 2 or 3 more minutes, and then you guys can go to bed. I'm like your homeroom teacher in the morning. Did you get a good night's sleep? No, I was with Maria last night talking about Charmed and crazy crap. I can already see a local person kills clown on street. I mean, you ever Google those videos about clowns on YouTube? And you see people like looking through the peek hole, and there's like a guy standing out there with a clown. Now, I am a minority. We know the minority rules. We don't go downstairs and check things in the basement. If we hear a noise, we're already on the highway. I put out the back door, jump in the car, and I'm out. I'm not going through the woods. I'm not going anywhere. Cabin in the woods? No. No cell phone reception? Hell no. No. Somebody's knocking at the door. Don't open it. Call 911 immediately. I'm like, but if there was a clown at my door, I'm gonna get a machete. I'm gonna get whatever weapons I got. I'm gonna get the oven cleaner. That stuff is toxic. I'm gonna open the door, spray him right in his ass, and just take him out. Because there shouldn't have been a clown at my door. That is self-defense. Just saying. So hopefully you won't see me on the news for doing that. But I'm like, but if there is, I'm just putting it out there. If you know where I live and you are a clown and you have any indications and any like motives of coming to my house, any inclinations whatsoever of standing outside my peephole dressed as a clown, pretending to have a knife, get ready. You go see the other side very quickly. If some dude in a clown costume came at me on the road, it'd be the highway to heaven because I'm not hesitating. And as well, you should not. I mean, did you really hit anything? No. Like, I don't want to hit people. Clowns aren't people. So we can't afford to do dumb things in horror movies. Minorities die. You're right. You're right. And be like, hey, Maria, what? I heard that there's this road that's haunted. Nope. And that's the road we do not go to. Hey, if we take this shortcut, you can take this shortcut. Drop me off right there at the bus station. Well, I can get an Uber. Oh, and make sure you stay with me till the Uber gets here because I'm not about to be kidnapped on this road. Nah, we sit here, wait for my Uber, make sure I do a background check, and then I'm out. You go down the wrong, this shortcut if you want. We'll see who gets there first. They're not gonna be me. Let's see. That's my favorite comment right now. I'm putting that up there right now because he's true statement of my life. I'm not hesitating. So no ghost hunting for you, huh, Maria? Kevin, you've been listening to me. Like, have you been listening? Do you see any words here or anywhere on my face that says poltergeist lover? No, you do not. No. If the undead wants to talk to you, send an email because text me. Do not come in my house. Do not move my stuff. Unless you were cleaning my house and paying half the rent, I better not see a ghost in the damn house. No. And the moment I see something move, I'm moving. Like, I am moving. Although there was a TV show called Ghost Brothers canceled, but you see it on YouTube. That's fine. There was a show on PBS called Ghost Writer. That's great. Some little ghost thing was writing them messages to solve crimes, which also could be construed as all of them were schizophrenic. I don't know, but I don't think they ever really said who the ghost writer was either. But no, we don't do that. We don't do that. I definitely recommend Supernatural if you haven't. I haven't seen all of it, but I've definitely seen Supernatural. And Quarter Life Jam, who's on here on the channel every so often, she's a huge Supernatural fan. She did a review on the channel. If my friend group ever got into a supernatural situation, there's only one of us that's straight, so we already know how that's going. Well, I mean, look, I'm a minority. I'm queer. I feel like none of the things that I am are in my favor to survive a horror movie or supernatural situation. So the best course of action is to try very hard not to put yourself in the situations where you feel like you're the first one that's going to die. I'm not going to have a Ouija board. I'm not going to do the seance with you. I'm not going to do any of this. Do not take me to the fortune teller. I don't want to know about the number 23. No. Absolutely not. There is no camping. There's no camp counseling. There is none of that. None of that noise. No. When I travel, if I have to stay at a hostel, it is a hostel that's in the city that I've researched extensively that has not had anybody missing from because I've checked all of the news around it for the past 30 years. You think I'm joking. I'm not. I don't play that. I don't play that noise. No, I'm not riding in a boat. We're not getting lost at sea. None of that stuff. Same, I'm minority and gay, so no Sydney Prescott friend for me. Exactly. No. No, I have those friends. I really do. I have those people like, hey, why don't we? I'm like, I'm like, when you're talking, you're leaving Maria out, right? You're not talking actually to me. You're just talking in general amongst yourselves because that's not happening. No. Not at all. Oh, Ghost Rider. I used to love Ghost Rider. Even though I'm older, I used to watch that. I used to watch the heck out of that show. I'm like, these kids are cute. I just didn't understand why they had, you know, the ghost talking to them to begin with. But the PBS version was cool. I have not seen the remake, so I don't know about the CBS version. I think I saw a trailer, but I wasn't really interested in it. So, Jed, sorry I'm late. You are not late. This is the BS part of it, where I just talk about all kinds of stuff and we just gossip now that has nothing to do with Charmed. So if you would like to see the Charmed portion of this, it is probably in the first 52 minutes. This is the after party that's going to go away pretty soon because I want people to be able to go to sleep. Have you seen the series of Unfortunate Events? Yes, I have. I actually love the book series. I'm a big Lemony Snicket fan, so yes. And I liked it. And I actually like Neil Patrick Harris. I didn't think I would, but he was pretty. All right. See here. What CBS version I saw on Apple TV. I thought that was CBS. Well, maybe it was Apple TV. I don't know. I saw the trailer for the Ghost Rider remake. Again, I was not impressed with the trailer. I like to give things a chance, though. I usually watch the first 3 episodes, but I don't even watch Apple TV, so it didn't faze me at all. But I mean, I can't say if it's good or bad because I haven't seen it. I'm watching a show right now that my spouse found called Light as a Feather, and we just finished, I believe, season 1, and we're going into season 2. And so far, it's pretty good. I haven't read the books, but it looks pretty good. So that is a really cool show. It's older, so not really worth me reviewing, but for the most part, I like it. But all right, guys, it is now 1:40. It's our cap time, 1 hour and 40 and 20 seconds. So you guys go. I do have another stream tomorrow at 2:30 where we're going to talk about Zack Snyder, the Snyder Cut. And I'm also going to do my Batwoman review, so you will have that. And eventually, you will see my wonderful, amazing Fate Wink Saga freaking review because I'm going to beat this video into submission. I'm going to make it my biatch. It is going to post. So it's going to happen. But to answer your question really quickly, yes, they did make a remake of Ghost Rider, but I think the story is drastically different. So yes. If you watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., what's your favorite season? Season 2. I love season 2. Things got a lot weirder after that. And I'm going to bed. You guys go to bed, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.